Everyone thought I couldn't leave Daisy. After college, I was her sidekick for 3 years, until Gloria came back. In the VIP room, Daisy was clinging to a guy's fit waist and sent me a message. "Bring me a new suit, I can't use the dirty one." When she sent that message, she got a big exclamation mark as she realized I'd blocked her. She thought I was just in a mood until she saw me at Gloria's welcome back party. Then she figured out she was just a stand-in. The mountain I always said I couldn't climb was always about Gloria. That day she stopped me. Under the dim lights, she had a mocking look in her eyes. "Dino, you actually dared to play me?" After I graduated college, I started following Daisy. She's the heiress of H Group, a cherished young lady with a charming face and a wild personality. The first time I met Daisy was in the meeting room. The secretary asked me to bring some coffee. The afternoon sun shone through the clear glass, and Daisy was on the phone with her legs crossed. She looked impatient and cut the call short, turning to see me. That year, I was fresh out of college, just an intern at H Group. Daisy was pressured by her family to work at the company. She took a liking to me and asked me to be her assistant. She loved ordering people around, with no clear lines between work and personal matters. I don't remember who crossed the line first, just that night under the moonlight. When I reached for her, my hand was caught. "Want to be with me?" I paused, and then I laughed. Sure. I was always aware of my strengths. Good looks, quick learning. So when Daisy brought it up, I wasn't the least bit surprised. For 3 years, I was the all-around great boyfriend. I quit H Group and started my own company. Whenever Daisy called, I was there. Daisy's friends didn't think much of me. They often labeled me as a simp. After all, everyone knew H Group's heiress always had admirers. If I could tolerate that, I was practically a turtle ninja. During our first year, Daisy planned a trip with a bunch of people to the snowy mountains. On the way back, we got snowed in and played truth or dare. One guy drew a dare: kiss a girl here for 3 minutes. He had a pure, innocent face and looked pitiful. I choose Daisy. His words left the room in silence. Only Daisy had an amused look, glancing over. Back then, Daisy and I had just started dating, and no one could tell her feelings towards me. Someone tried to smooth things over, pick someone else. "It's late, let's just go to bed." Until Daisy spoke, "I don't mind." That day, with everyone's encouragement, the guy and Daisy kissed for 3 minutes. Afterwards, he looked at her, amused. "Daisy." Daisy didn't respond, just waved at me. "Come here." That night, when Daisy tried to kiss me, I stopped her. "Rinse your mouth." She paused, not showing a hint of anger. "What, are you jealous?" I didn't reply, and after a moment, she went and rinsed her mouth. Since then, Daisy and I maintained a mutual understanding. Rinse first, then proceed. When Daisy kissed me, there was some force behind it, sticky and intense. "Dino, are you nuts? You put up with this?" I looked at the familiar eyes and calmly said, "You and I are like the distant moon, something not to be approached." Now, looking at my phone, news of Gloria, the heiress of the Whites, returning takes the top spot. In the photo, she's wearing a long white dress. Just a glance reignited desires long hidden in my heart. My moon is back. I want to break up with Daisy. When Daisy called, I was in a meeting. By the time I called back, she'd been drinking. A woman nearby took the phone. "Dino, come get Daisy. She's been calling your name." The night breeze hit my tense face, making my mind foggy. Nearby, a convenience store had a Cullinan parked outside. A woman's coat was casually thrown over her arm. She had a long, graceful figure, leaning against the car, like a painting. Then the painting stirred, and she looked over. It was Gloria. I didn't approach her. After a few seconds of silence, the phone urging me on, I hung up. Hours later, I reached the mountain villa. Daisy was playing dice, not at all drunk. Seeing me, she casually wrapped her arm around a guy, eyes playful. "Dino, come here." I leaned on the door frame, not entering. She wasn't pleased. "Don't make me repeat myself." I took a deep breath. "Are you coming back? If not, I'm leaving." The silence thickened the air. Daisy slightly furrowed her eyebrows, then smiled. Is it that serious? It's just a game. Don't spoil the fun, Dino. I turned to leave. For the first time, Daisy followed. She firmly grasped my hands. It's just a game with him. But I'm serious about us. A game? I challenged. How many men have you used that line on? Some truths don't sound good when spoken aloud. I've always known when to stop. Daisy didn't expect my words, momentarily stunned. I pried her hands off and looked up, smiling. If it's just a game, then it's game over for us. Daisy. Let's break up. Lines I'd prepared came easily. Behind me, the door slammed shut. Daisy. Don't regret it. Daisy never knew our meeting that year was intentional. That year, Gloria went abroad. My unsaid confession became a regret. With friends, leaving the mall, I noticed someone bright across the street. A similar face, but a completely different style. My friend noticed my distraction and pulled me back. What are you looking at? Nothing. I turned away but remembered the name of that bar. The next day, I was at the same spot and saw her again, learning her identity. Just fresh from graduation, choosing between grad school and a job, I picked the latter without hesitation. I submitted my resume to H Group, not for the job but to meet her. At first, I didn't plan on being with her. Just like at college, I never thought of meeting Gloria. But Daisy was different from her. Gloria was the moon on water, unreachable. Daisy was someone close. After lowering my standards enough, I eventually made my move. Deliberate physical touches, a forgotten tie. Even the duration of our relationship matched my predictions. I craved the similar face, justifying my patience as reasonable. I hid my true self well. In 3 years, Daisy never realized I was a bit of a nut. After coming back down the mountain, I drove straight to my apartment. I packed my things overnight and sent a final message to Daisy. I took my stuff. If you want to get rid of the things we bought together, just toss them. After sending the message, I blocked Daisy's number. With the car window open, the breeze flooded in. As dawn started breaking, I found myself again thinking about what I saw from my window the night before. Looking back, Gloria and Daisy only resembled each other in appearance. But even that was enough to make self-conscious me from back then feel insecure. Today, however, I closed my eyes and smiled. Maybe it's a change within me, but now I feel like, even if it's the unattainable moon, I gotta give it my all. And if I still can't reach it, at least I can sleep under it. I started DX with Michael. It's a branding company. He had the money and I had the skills. Michael was my first friend and my first business partner when I came to this city. He used his connections to build a network for me, and I handled the projects. Daisy knew I was starting a business and wanted to invest, but I turned her down. She was mad at me for a while after that. I made up a lie. I didn't want people to think I was with her for her money. Truth is, I never saw her as part of my future. So when we broke up, I had no regrets. When Michael heard about the breakup, he cheered. He never liked Daisy. Daisy, that clueless girl, no amount of money could make up for it. You should have ended things with her years ago. Trash belongs in the trash can. He was so passionate about it. I just smiled and poured myself a drink. I'm no angel either. No way, Michael said, reaching over to pat my head. You're a good guy. I drank the wine in one gulp, eyes darkened, and offered nonchalantly, Is your family tight with Glorias? Yeah, they are, Michael said, not quite getting my drift. Can you hook me up with her? I'd like to meet her. Michael and Gloria were childhood friends, but he was into her, and she wasn't into him. Still, their families wanted them paired off, so they kept in touch. Gloria recently took over an electronic furniture project. A few months ago, the Whites invited outside designers for collaborative product development, and I wanted that opportunity. Michael gave me Gloria's contact info. Her profile picture was a sharp, peaked, snowy mountain. My dad wants me to pick her up. She's busy. Could you go instead? It was a buzzing summer afternoon. The cicadas were going loud and branches cast dancing shadows. Gloria walked out, wearing a sleek black dress with a cool vibe. I rolled down the window and called out, Gloria? I smiled a bit. Michael sent me to pick you up. As I drove off, I played soft music and cracked the window just a sliver. Where to? I asked. Back to Moonlight Garden, she replied. That's where she's living right now. As I glanced in the rearview mirror, our eyes met. Dino, she said my name, my heart missing a beat. Her smile was still as gentle as ever, like back then. You've grown. And for a moment, I was back in that small mountain village, surrounded by endless peaks. Back to that restless summer with the city girl who'd visit. Memories resurfaced until only one thought remained. She remembered me. Gloria remembered Dino. Where I grew up, it was remote and old-fashioned. Boys my age were already being set up for marriage. I wasn't any different. I ran away a lot but always got dragged back. Beatings followed. My father twisted my ear, scolding as we walked. I'd lost a shoe, walking barefoot on the dusty ground, not feeling a thing. A car horn sounded, and my father stopped. I turned and saw journalists with cameras. The village had heard a TV crew was coming to film a documentary, so everyone was all about it. Among them was a young girl, maybe 16 or 17, smiling with cold eyes. Good story material, isn't it? My father was startled and quickly let go of me. He grabbed my arm, playing affectionate. This is my son. Just explaining things to him, he said. He gripped my arm, obviously warning me. But I played along, biding my time. That day, I realized my real chance to escape had come, thanks to the TV crew. My dad wouldn't dare keep me locked up anymore. So I made the most of it, eager to appear on camera. Rewatch that episode, and you'd see people didn't like me much. He's scheming, always jumps in, that look, definitely trouble. Wants an education? Yeah, he just wants money. That's all they saw, aggressive and unmannered, showing off, trying to steal the spotlight. Even though my parts got cut down to clips, viewers still disliked me. My parents and the crew included. I was rough, rude, and ill-mannered. But not Gloria. She always handed me water after I'd talked too much. Later, she kindly told me interviews were for everyone, not just me. That calmed me down. I invited Gloria home once, serving lousy wild veggie noodles. She ate the lot. After, she started helping me with homework. I was curious about her life but was too obvious. She told me anyway. Her family sponsored the TV station, her uncle was a cameraman, and this project was a school assignment for her with the mountain as a study topic. She was kind, nice, with no secrets. Never guessed that next time, I'd blurt out something so absurd. Gloria, would you be my sugar mama? Those words, so shocking back then, never faded with time. I stared in the rear view at Gloria, quickly regaining composure. It's been a long time. Before she got out, we shared contacts. She offered first. That sharp, snowy mountain top was like a new friend on my contact list. In a few days, it's my going away party. If you're looking for more partnership opportunities, I can introduce you to some. Of course, whether it works out or not is still up to you. I agreed, watching her leave. Suddenly, I smiled. She probably didn't know the wicked thoughts I had about her. But even if she did, it wouldn't matter. My eyes cooled, because I would never stop. Gloria's going away party was exceptionally grand. Besides celebrating her homecoming, the most important reason was that the company had slowly been handed over to her. She was to be the next one in charge. I attended the event with Michael as the boss of DX. I handed over my business card to Gloria, letting my fingertips linger on her hand for a moment. Hello, Dino. I'm one of the founders of DX and the chief designer of the brand, she said, smiling. Hi, Gloria. She extended her hand. Do you have some time to chat? We left the noisy room and went to the courtyard. I handed her our company's competition entries. She looked over them, nodding. Impressive, really outstanding. Curious, she asked, why didn't you just enter the competition yourself? Because I wanted to meet you, I said, catching her off guard. Gloria, I called her name. Do you want to know me? She didn't answer because the next second, someone called her back inside. I leaned against the railing, downing my drink. Then I heard a cold laugh. Looking down, I saw Daisy, whom I hadn't seen in a long time. She stood there, arms crossed, looking up at me. Stand in literature? Her eyes had a chill. Where's the original that's as good as me? I turned to leave. Daisy followed me up a few steps and grabbed my arm. With a thud, I bumped into the rear railing. She looked down slowly. All these years, I didn't know you had a thing for stand-ins. If you can't let go of me, why not just drop your pride? Daisy, I reminded her. We broke up. She lowered her head, trying to lean in for a kiss, which I stopped with a slap. That's harassment now. Harassment? Daisy's smiling eyes turned cold. Is there any part of you I haven't touched? In bed, it's not like you were a saint. Now you're talking harassment? She lowered her voice. I told you, a stand-in is never as good as the original. Just admit you were wrong, and we can forget all this. Dino, the others mean nothing. You've been with me long enough to know how I feel about you, right? The courtyard lights flickered down. Looking at Daisy's certain face, it seemed she thought she had everything under control, and I suddenly laughed. I leaned in. She thought I was giving in, but my gesture stopped her. Who told you Gloria was a stand-in? I said. The words fell and I saw Daisy stiffen. Stop being stubborn. She relaxed after a moment. You can't tell me you met Gloria years ago making me the stand-in. Admit it so we can move past this. She bent down. Dino, let's get back together. But I wasn't interested. I was tired of this back and forth. Daisy, we broke up. Clinging on like this only makes it awkward. Breakup means from now on, it's you and me alone. Who I'm with is none of your business. Does she know? Maybe out of anger. She laughed. Does Gloria know she's the stand-in? I didn't want to argue about stand-ins anymore. I honestly reminded her, Daisy, if you're sick, get treated. I know a great doctor for hearing issues. I can recommend them if you need. I turned to leave and she instinctively followed. I looked back. Stop following me. Daisy's steps halted, and even after Dino left, she couldn't snap out of it. A few days ago, she deliberately hugged another man to send him a message. Send a new suit. The old one got dirty. It was to punish him for breaking up, to show that even without him, there were plenty who wanted her. But the message didn't go through. She was blocked. When she went to their shared apartment, all traces of him were gone. She thought he was just throwing a tantrum. Even today, she hadn't planned on attending. Since childhood, people compared her to Gloria, whom she hated, until she heard Dino was going to be there, changing her mind. She wanted to reconcile but blew it upon seeing him with Gloria. After Dino left, she stood in the empty courtyard, feeling like a hole had been gouged in her heart. She crouched down, torn between distortion and satisfaction. Dino just used her as a stand-in for her. Everyone thought Gloria was better, but Dino was different. With him, she always felt superior to Gloria. Weeks later, I joined Gloria's team for collaborations. To make things easier, our office moved to the Whites. Gloria and I often clashed in terms of ideas. Her thoughts were gentler, mine more intense, like wild grass between mountains, with a tenacious vitality. Gloria suggested keeping my idea, pursuing a separate line. With that, he rushed to catch another flight. Having just taken over the company, he was often too busy to meet his schedule. Usually orderly and polite, but sometimes he seemed clumsy amidst chaos. That day, the Whites needed someone who knew Spanish to translate at the airport. The only colleague who could was sent elsewhere. I'll give it a shot, I offered. Gloria looked over. You know Spanish? I do. In my 4 years of college, besides part-time work and socializing, I never slacked in my studies. I not only know Spanish, but I also know Japanese and Korean. Opportunities in life are often a series of cause and effect. I didn't want to regret not being prepared. Gloria went to the airport with me. There, I confidently introduced myself, watching her furrowed brows relax. After a meal at the hotel, Gloria personally saw the customers to their rooms. I waited outside. 10 minutes later, she hurriedly came out. Seeing me, she relaxed completely. Are you hungry? She noticed I hadn't eaten much during the whole dinner party. I know a great place, she said. I'll take you. In the car, I rolled down the window. Gloria. I wondered, did I help you out? We looked at each other. Gloria smiled first. What kind of reward do you want? I'll give it to you. I laughed. I'll ask after our deal is done. If I ask now, it might be awkward. What a loaded statement, sparking a moment of intimacy. Gloria didn't say anything more. Usually calm and collected, she suddenly looked away, uncomfortable for the first time. So I sighed. Gloria, don't be nervous, I said, watching her, afraid of awkwardness. The moment passed, and Gloria smiled again. 2 months later, the deal with the Whites was done. Gloria threw a celebration party. I was packing at the hotel when Daisy texted. She changed numbers again. I've lost count. Dino, I'm drunk, and my stomach hurts. Can you come get me? I blocked her again. The night was peaceful. The moon hung lonely. I lit a cigarette. This wasn't the first time she bothered me. If it were, I wouldn't have moved to a hotel. Michael always criticizes Daisy. She's a hot mess. Lately, she went on about wanting to marry me. Everyone in the Millers knows. Got any plans? Gloria must have heard, too. Small world, and Daisy's drama was loud. I'm not surprised Gloria knows. Once, after a dinner with Gloria, we passed an alley. Want my help? She called out. I stared at her, then laughed. I can handle this. The Millers won't let her marry someone without status. And she can't fight her family. Recently, Gloria's vibe changed around me. She invites me out, chats about other stuff, notices my stomach issues, discreetly shields me from drinking. Even if we disagree, she looks at me with admiration. She stays with me when I work late, seeks my advice when puzzled. My subtle attempts at closeness haven't gone unnoticed. As she moved closer, Daisy's drama only got louder. Gloria, do you mind my past? I asked from a short distance away. Everyone has a past. She walked to me, eyes fixed. And I'm in yours. For a fleeting moment, her possessive side shone through. She turned away, uneasy. The party was at Spongy Mountain, a posh part of Seaport City. Checkpoints at entry. The villa was nestled in green, bonfires on the nearby beach. Gloria texted. Here yet? Almost, I replied, stepping out of the car. Gloria stood nearby, in a navy blue gown, looking stunning. The party was just employees, so it felt laid back. I sang to lighten the mood. I sang a bit in college. Gloria played piano, accompanying me. The room erupted in applause after. That moment, it felt like that summer again. Reckless youth craving the spotlight. Gloria glanced at me. I'd lost my initial shyness and nerves. I was confident, open, smiling warmly. Time had remolded me as now. Post-party, I knocked on Gloria's door. Silent night, I entered. Remember your promise? I asked her, grinning. Gloria, I want you. Years ago, in a village, I said something similar. She told me then, Dino, you must see the bigger sky and world. With her help, I left that backward place. She funded my education and I got into her school. In a rented room far from the village, beyond thick books and the sky, lurked teenage longing. In college, I wanted to reconnect but felt insignificant next to her openness. Teen angst stems from inner fear. Even being good-looking, smart, and an all-a-student didn't help back then. Now, maybe because of proven ability or unfulfilled ambitions, I wanted that once unreachable dream again. As I kissed Gloria, she stiffened. Seconds later, she wrapped her arms around me, kissing back. A fiery, gentle kiss, tinged with alcohol. I pushed her to the couch. She grabbed my hand. Too fast, Dino. I stayed silent. She touched my face and kissed me again. I stayed still, concerned. She cupped my face, touching her nose to mine. Not happy. I felt her brow and gaze, more mature than the youth she remembered. Gloria, I kissed her corner lip. You've exceeded my imagination. Good enough to stir old, deep-seated emotions again. After the deal ended, I unblocked Daisy. She texted right away. You really with Gloria? Why treat me like this? You think giving them info means I'll let you off? You started this. Days ago, I met Daisy's father. Not that I contacted him, he reached out. Daisy's antics were too much, and everyone thought she was nuts. Don't worry, I assured him. I won't get back with Daisy. I handed over evidence of Daisy's harassment and her arranging bad stuff against the Whites. In a video, she stumbled out of a hotel, argued with a drunk, and ended up in the police station. Paparazzi caught her bruised face. I bought those photos for the Millers. The Millers care a lot about appearances. They might have turned a blind eye to some of Daisy's crazy antics before, but if things get really out of hand, they won't just let it slide. As expected, Daisy got grounded. But she wasn't acting right. She found out I was with Gloria and got furious. She even tried to pull a suicide stunt. One night, under the starlit sky, just after getting out of the car, I pulled Gloria in for a kiss. I love kissing her, teasing her. She blushes easily. Boom! There was a loud noise. I turned to see Daisy in the corner. She looked a mess. She'd been cooped up by the Millers and had actually jumped out a window to get away. Everyone told her I was with Gloria now. She didn't believe it and went crazy texting me harassment messages. Eventually, her phone was taken away. Now she saw us kissing with her own eyes. Her eyes were bloodshot. Dino, come over here. I smiled at Gloria. Can you head inside first? She ruffled my hair. Call me if you need me. Once the door shut, I turned around. My face was now serious. I flicked on a lighter and lit a cigarette. Looking down at her, trash? Daisy froze at the insult. She never knew I had this side to me. She wanted to snap back, but held her tongue, remembering why she was here. Dino, let's get back together. Whatever he can give you, I can too. Don't be with him, she whispered, stepping forward and grabbing me. You don't need a stand-in. I'm right here. I smirked. I've known Gloria for 10 years. How's she a stand-in? She looked shocked. What? You don't believe me? My eyes sparkled with malice. Go ahead, look it up. I met her 10 years ago. Her face shifted from pale to flushed with anger. Dino, you tricked me. Tricked? How's this tricking? I asked. Did you ever take this relationship seriously? You can't even manage the bare minimum, so what right do you have to question someone who's mastered it? Doesn't every player try to play the faithful game? Doesn't that make you sick? Do you regret how you treated me? Or are you just mad about losing your toy? How funny. You disrespect others' feelings yet expect yours to be untouched. You feel played, Daisy. That's why you're mad. I flicked ash from my cigarette, feeling the darkness inside me swell. You called the shots to start this game. I just kept the right to end it. Isn't that fair? What's my crime? After all, I turned away, looking into the night, suddenly laughing. I'm not exactly a saint myself. Daisy clenched her fists, almost in disbelief. Why? After all these years, was nothing real? Maybe some of it was. I replied. But it doesn't matter. I put myself first. You weren't impressive enough, so you didn't matter much to me. Sometimes feelings stray for a moment, but it doesn't change the outcome. Daisy laughed bitterly. You think Gloria doesn't mind your history with me? You think she's not playing you too? You've lied to me for years. She frowned, still hoping. Don't you feel guilty at all? No, I answered, actually, I find you pretty pathetic. Women can play with men's emotions, but when men do it, it's immoral. I never think about that because, Daisy, you're not so morally clean yourself. You played me. Does it matter if it's in the open or hidden? No guilt here. If anything, your demands right now are the real trashy part. The door opened behind me. Gloria stood there in her casual clothes. Showering too late isn't good for you, she said. Daisy stepped forward, but recalled her grandpa's threatening words and stopped. The door shut in her face as she stomped her phone on the ground. Gloria's serious when it comes to both work and relationships. Since living together, she's changed her workaholic ways, reminding me to sleep early daily. She knows not to disturb me while I'm working and will quietly leave to another room to sleep. She runs every morning, makes breakfast, reads. She's practically perfect. Still, Gloria did two things behind my back. One, she entered business competition with H Group, openly challenging the Millers' Daisy. Two, she turned down another arranged dating meeting. About that second point, she didn't elaborate much. Even without you, I'd still refuse. Life's short, we should follow our hearts, right? Those words hit me deep. Beneath the sunlight, she looked up softly, smiling at me. I got lost in thought. One evening after dinner, she pulled out a jewelry box. When you're younger, cheap gifts make your heart race because it's all the heart can afford. In your 20s, the high price can tug your heart. She opened it, cold fingers tracing my neck. The night set fire to Gloria's face, her smile captivating. Looks good. The most usual words. Suddenly, $1 million gift seemed ordinary. Like she just saw some flowers and decided to buy them. We haven't talked marriage, not in all this time. I know about the gossip, her family's views. But I never cared. I only care about this moment, her being here now. When Gloria noticed my silence, she asked, "Don't like it?" "Gloria," I blinked. "Do you love me?" "First time I've asked." She seemed stunned for a moment before I turned away. For days she seemed eager to answer. But I brushed it off each time. Michael asked why I don't talk about it. I looked at him long and hard, lighting a cigarette, gazing afar. There's no future for us. The gap in our status, our backgrounds, those hurdles are too real. But having a relationship like that in this lifetime is pretty nice. After breaking up with Michael, Gloria called. Right now, she's in Switzerland on a business trip. In December, everything is covered in white snow, making the whole city feel soft and peaceful. She's sitting inside, pointing outside in the video call. "The scenery here is great. Want to come over?" I didn't speak. So she said again, "Dino, I miss you." 3 days apart felt like 3 years. My heart softened, so I said, "I'll come find you." On my last night in Switzerland, I got a bit reckless with the help of some alcohol. She laughed and let me have my way. These days, she took me skiing and sightseeing. Most of our conversations were about food and drinks. I playfully bit her chin, and she just laughed gently. She stroked my hair and asked, "Did Grandpa talk to you?" "Yes." A month ago, her grandpa approached me, asking me to leave Gloria. But I didn't agree. I smiled a bit wickedly. I said she should tell me herself, or I'm not going anywhere. She hugged me, running her fingers through my hair. "You did well." When our breathing got heavier and I was about to kiss her, Gloria stopped me. She held me close. "Dino, let's get married." Was it on a whim, or because of feelings? The mood suddenly cooled down. Why? I was confused. Is it because of guilt? Guilt that made your grandpa find me? Or fear of me feeling insecure? "Gloria, I don't want to get married." I picked up my clothes from the floor, dressing while watching her. "It's just a piece of paper. It doesn't matter. I'm like a hungry wolf from the mountains. I'm never afraid of the end. Even if one day she realizes she wants a normal life, it won't matter. When I find out she's not as perfect as I thought. Spring will come again. New people too." Gloria held my hand. In the dark, her voice was still so gentle, like the spring breeze stroking restless wild grass. "No," she said, "it's because I love you." She faced the question I had that night head on. Love is the most luxurious, anticipated, and difficult thing in this world to have. We spent our first year together. On a day when families should be gathered, Gloria snuck out with me to light fireworks. As the fireworks bloomed, I turned to look at Gloria. She murmured, "Let's do this every year." I didn't hear it clearly. "What?" She laughed. "From now on, let's spend every year like this." Despite the noise of the fireworks, I felt like I was in a silent room. Then came the sound of a stronger heartbeat. Instinctively, I stepped back. Gloria's smile froze, but I moved forward again. Expressionless, I muttered, She relaxed. "Grandpa wanted you to come home for dinner sometime." I was a bit shocked. "He didn't invite you today, worried you wouldn't adapt." "My family is big and noisy during New Year." Gloria pulled me into her embrace. "How about we eat together someday?" "Do you still want to get married?" I asked her. "Yes, kind of, but it's okay if we don't. Like you said, it's just a piece of paper." "Does your family agree?" "I've handled it." Gloria kissed me. "You're free. No matter when, Dino, you're always free." As she placed a gentle kiss on my eyelids, I opened my eyes. "Dino, I love you." An assistant called. A couple was causing trouble at the office front door. When I got there, my mom and dad were crying and causing a scene. Seeing me, they paused briefly. My mom was a bit guilty, but then thought of something and started crying louder. The assistant whispered to me, "How do we handle this?" Looking at the mess, I smirked. "Call the police." Hearing that, the people sitting on the ground couldn't take it but were quickly stopped. "Dino, For such a small issue, you're calling the cops on us? What else? Walk over and let you slander me like a few years ago? When I first started college, my parents caused a scene once. Probably heard about my scholarship and got interested. Back then, I had just started college. They'd wait downstairs, loving to spread rumors. They'd prefer to think of me as a duck to leech more from me. Even if I had nothing. Those with nothing are the least afraid. We fought until we were both bloodied. Finally, I held a knife, thinking if you push me, either kill me or I'll kill you. After that, my parents never caused trouble again. To prevent any issues, I give them a fixed amount of money every year. Not too much or too little, just enough for peace. Hearing that, their arrogance deflated. At the police station, under questioning, they confessed quickly. Someone paid them to cause a scene. If they made it big, they were promised $1 million. $1 million. They've never seen that much money in their lives. I didn't need to guess who was behind it. When Gloria arrived, I was just leaving the station. She'd been traveling recently, just landed today, and rushed over after hearing about it. I've already talked to the H group on the way. This won't just pass. Dino, whatever you decide, I'll support you. I stopped, squinting at her. Her hair was slightly messy, sunlight glinting on her eyebrows and eyes. In that moment, my tense expression melted away. I laughed, and Gloria quickly caught me. Due to this incident, the Millers completely gave up on Daisy. She was sent abroad and before leaving, begged to see me one last time. I didn't. She called, but I didn't answer. She sent a message. Goodbye, Dino. I still don't want to wish you well. I laughed coldly and blocked the number. I turned to look at Gloria. Gloria, you know what? A few days ago, I made a deal with the Millers using Daisy's bad debts. The previous project was assigned to me. Aren't you mad? I wondered. I didn't even stop to consider your feelings. Even this situation wouldn't happen if they weren't worried about offending you. There's nothing wrong with using what you have. Don't be too hard on yourself. You never seem to get mad at me. Dino. Gloria looked me in the eyes. Climbing up by using the resources you have without hurting anyone. Why would I be angry? Because I'm taking advantage of you. She laughed. You're pretty straightforward. If you can, keep taking advantage of me. Use me to climb higher. I hope you go further, just like I said to you years ago. Gloria said softly. I want you to see the vast world. Gloria's grandfather sometimes invites me over for dinner. I'm not good at dealing with relationships like these, and I've politely declined a few times. Michael invited me to hang out, and I looked at him, asking, why are you so nice to me? He paused, then rolled his eyes silently. Are you kidding me? It's because you're amazing. Come on, I wouldn't have made it through college without you. When you invited me to partner up in business, my dad thought it was nonsense, but what does he know? You're kind-hearted, you rescue animals, insightful, and ambitious. How many people can say they've done what you have? I thought to myself back then, more leaders should be like you. So I thought of you. I did business with you not just for the partnership, but also to prove my dad wrong. It doesn't surprise me at all that Gloria would fall for you, because you truly are great. Your only flaw, Michael said, pinching my cheek. You always avoid your true feelings. That afternoon, Gloria picked me up to take me home. Maybe it was Michael's words on my mind, but I fell asleep in the car. When I woke up, it was almost evening. A light blanket covered me. Gloria was working outside, trying not to disturb me. With the window down, I waved at her. When she bent over, I pulled her close and kissed her. Suddenly, it was like we were teens again, sitting on a hillside. She talked about city development, the vast world, and how knowledge changes fate. When she left, she gave me a lamp and a room. I relied on that warmth through the coldest times. At 18, I first saw her at college. She was full of spirit, handsome in a way I admired. My deepest secrets were buried in my heart. Being close to something bright can easily burn. Back then, I wasn't sure what my feelings for her were. I just desperately wanted her in my life. She was the kindest, strongest presence in my chaotic world. And now? What are my feelings now? It's love. All those years of obsession, reluctance, suppression, they've come to a head. Now I love Gloria. Gloria's perspective, In high school, I followed my uncle to a poor mountain village. That's where I first met Dino. He wore tattered clothes, was dragged by his parents, beaten, and cursed in words I couldn't understand. I helped him out of that situation. During filming, he always interrupted, eager to be seen. My uncle didn't like him much and told me to keep my distance. I argued. Our teacher said not to judge people based on stereotypes. My uncle laughed, almost amused. Dino started inviting me to his home, and most times, I was helping him with schoolwork. He wasn't dumb, he actually worked hard. He said he couldn't continue his studies because his family wouldn't allow it. He said it without an ounce of sadness, not expecting me to understand. He just wanted to vent because no one else would listen. He talked about how his family valued girls over boys. My dad used to say I took my brother's life away, he said. He calls me worthless, says boys don't need to study, marrying well is the real goal. Little Dino voiced his first life question. But isn't my dad a boy too? Why does he hate me? Maybe that question had been inside him for a long time, just waiting for an opportunity to come out. I couldn't answer because around someone living in darkness, anything I said would feel like moral high ground. I just told him to never give up on studying. What's the point of studying? Study and see the bigger world outside. Will the outside world be like you? He asked, glancing at me. Will everyone I meet be like you? No, everyone is different. Dino, you study to meet yourself, not me. To meet myself. Yeah. Back then, I didn't fully understand it either. I just went with my instincts. Later, Dino asked me out and made a jaw-dropping statement. I was shocked, even a little helpless. That night, we made a deal. I'd support his education, and he'd strive to see the outside world. The human brain remembers impactful events. Even if the person's image fades, the unique impression remains. So, when we met again, I recognized him instantly. He changed dramatically, impossible to ignore. He remained direct, but now he was confident and strong. We started to hang out more and more, and I don't know when exactly my feelings changed. Maybe while eating, working, or on a sunny afternoon when I saw him smile. Or maybe the seed had been planted long before, a seed of expectation that, when it sprouted, came with loving feelings. After we started dating, I saw his parents again at the police station. He didn't retaliate, he just sent them back. That night, I knew he wasn't okay. Even if he hid it well, I could tell. You can't understand your father, which, in a way, means you've broken out of that limitation. You started with a terrible hand in life, yet you forged the life you wanted. That's truly remarkable. I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth, growing up on the shoulders of giants. From a young age, I understood my life was privileged over most. Whenever I wanted something, there were countless people to help. But not you. After meeting you, I did a brief stint as a volunteer teacher. I saw those people and felt deeply that not everyone is as lucky as I am. You grew through immense hardship. You are strong and courageous, like a resilient tree in the desert. I passed by you, fell in love, it's the most normal thing. Because the rarity is you, never me. Dino. I looked up. I love you. He seemed a bit uneasy, but it's okay. I understand him. Whatever he chooses is fine. Not marrying is fine too. Loving him means accepting everything about him. Grandpa asked me why. For nothing. As the scenery outside stayed the same, lush and green, I smiled. Some people are like birds. He's meant to be a bird. He won't be trapped in a cage. He aspires to be the mountains. Watching him soar to the open, free sky is enough.